That seems okay. That seems okay. Look at that. I think we're kind of ready to go here. Just need to pull in the chat and bottom. There we go. That's right. It's Friday night, which means it's time to talk anime. Wish we could watch anime, but that is not the way that that the various services like things to go. Instead, let's skim through any news items. Hey Jay, welcome, welcome. We have a launch date for the live-action Akira film. Interesting. Various streaming service licenses. Ni no Kuni film, cool. Various folks showing up at various cons. Nothing wrong with that, but nothing too shocking. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Live action Love is War film coming. Cool. Yeah, not seeing anything. That's curious. One second. Yeah. Okay. Some screenings, some dubbings, but nothing else. Let's click through this stuff. So, the live-action Akira film will open May 21st, 2021. So 2 years from now. Taika Waititi directing. He'll be adapting the original manga as opposed to the film. Interesting. No other news besides that. Release date for PS5, cool. Japanese home video rental and streaming market rose 8% in 2018. Let's see. That's the total paid content market, reaching a little over $5 billion in 2018. The major contribution, no big surprise, is the paid streaming market, which increased 31% in 2018. So there we go. While the DVD and Blu-ray disc rental market dropped 7%, which is now at less than half what it was in 2007. And this is also the first year the number was less than paid streaming services. So paid streaming services are now making more money than DVDs and Blu-rays in Japan. Well, there's something to know. That there's an interesting data point. So now we know that yes, streaming services are definitely successful in Japan. I wonder what those are. I don't have a good idea of what the big streaming services are in Japan. We have CR and Funimation and so forth. And then Toei Animation and a Saudi Arabian media company called Manga Productions, that's not going to confuse anybody, revealed at Cannes that they're going to collaborate on a film called The Journey. Kobun Shizuno will be directing. He's done a bunch of Detective Conan, with a writer on the Pokemon films, Atsuhiro Tomioka, writing the script. Kaoru Wada doing the music. Ninja Scroll, Saint Seiya the Lost Canvas, Inuyasha, and I think he also does the main theme song. Am I right? No, I'm not. Different person. Done a bunch of stuff actually in the past. Let me just pull up. I'm obviously going to mute any audio, but I'm just going to look real quick. Journey implies Journey to the West. There is a video trailer you can see. Right now it's just shots of mountains and some guy with a sword, basically. Definitely Middle Eastern themed. with the guy in terms of clothes and outfits, and then sort of sand going in. That's all we know. Coming 2020, cool. Good to see co-productions with multiple countries. That's something that anime's been doing for a long time. Namely, anime studios doing the animation while much of the production is done outside of Japan. Mysterious Cities of Gold, classic example from the 80s, a French co-production with a Japanese animation studio. Quite a few other productions like that in the past, and often there's a lot of potential money to be made and money available in those other countries that you can then get in your local, or that can then be funneled towards the Japanese studio, which can make some money off that. The Japanese domestic market being so competitive. That's pretty cool. Watching Witchblade, cool. Never seen Witchblade myself. Perhaps one of these days. It seems there's more and more animation being made for just such a so many other places. Animation being made in India and China and other places, and I think it's really smart for some of these places to say, do we try to kickstart a whole animation industry here, or try to collect all of the animators we have and do something big, or do we use resources from other countries? Maybe we can take a company like Toei Animation and say, hey, you can do the animation to our character designs, our scripts, and so forth. I think it makes a lot of sense. Why not? Why not make use of those things? Not sure how long we're going to go tonight. I've actually got a convention tomorrow. I'll be doing 6 different panels over the course of 2 days. So I want to preserve my voice for that, as you might imagine, which is why I've got the throat coat going here, and drinking and sipping and enjoying that. So we will see. I've also been having some technical issues. I've been trying to upgrade the PC, so hopefully that doesn't kick me off. Hopefully we don't have any PC problems partway through the night. We will see. So Jay, thus far looks like it's pretty much just you and I. Is there anything in particular you wanted to talk about? What do you want to dig into? As we're spinning up towards that spring season. Let me see, actually. When does the new spring season start? Should be pretty soon, right? I guess the summer season, rather. When does the summer season start? I'm seeing July, mainly, for these. So a month away. July 4th, July 3rd, July 7th. Cool. So first week of July looks like the summer season starts. Hey, Mike. Good to see you. But the 90s like Toonami era. Hey, Akko. That was a time. The 90s was when I got into anime. Through the Sci-Fi Channel, their Festival of Anime. The 90s were a weird time because there was a lot of interest in anime, and it was certainly much more available than it had been in the past. You could go to movie stores, home rental stores, and actually get anime. Anime was on the shelves where it really hadn't before. Hey, Game Escape, good to see you. So anime was around now, and there was increasing anime on TV in reruns of Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon or what have you. But then Toonami really kicked it off the charts. Saturday morning cartoon blocks would often have 1 or 2 anime series on there, Card Captors or what have you. Remember Escaflowne on Fox for a little while? That did not go over well. It didn't work very well, I'll put it that way. Not really quite the right choice for their programming block, unfortunately. But yeah, Akko's absolutely right in the chat room that Toonami really popularized mecha, where there were certainly mecha fans in America before that, but I think really it was a tiny subgenre until Gundam Wing aired on Toonami, and suddenly folks fell in love with that and started seeking out other stuff. And granted, they were fans of Robotech. I think Robotech is certainly huge in America, but I think it was more that people were fans of Robotech as opposed to fans of Mecha. That had kind of its own, sub fandom. We didn't really break out into other stuff. That's cool, Game Escape, getting new type magazines in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, that is really neat. They are absolutely time capsules. There's some amazing stuff in there. You get to see a lot of anime too that we never got over here in America. Flashes in the pan that were just, they probably don't remember very well in Japan either. They just were there for a month and were gone, which is really cool. Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel showed some anime. Tech TV, for a little while, showed some anime. I don't know if that was technically in the 90s or not, if that was early 2000s. But yeah, Toonami was definitely the biggest one in terms of reach and in terms of all that stuff. Then we got, hey Mike, yeah, so we got some mecha on Sci-Fi Channel. Ironically, I remember when Toonami did a mecha week. So they showed 2 episodes a night of various mecha series. And it was a different show, so it would be like one mecha series at 5 and another at 5:30. So it was a total of 10 different mecha series over the course of the week. And it got some traction, but they were shocked to discover that their episode of Robotech got the lowest viewership of all of the shows on there, which just kind of blew them away. They were like, we love Robotech. We think it's one of the classics, and just no one was interested. Very weird. Remember they showed, I think they showed an episode of Eva. I know they showed Nadesco. I'm trying to remember. I'm sure IGPX because they had that. They paid for it. Can't remember what other mecha shows they had on there, but it was a neat experiment. I wish they do more of that. Yeah, totally. Going to Blockbuster to rent anime. We had a Sam Goody that had a lot of anime. And there was some other video store. I forget, Suncoast. We had a Suncoast where a lot of the staff were anime fans. We could actually talk the talk a little bit, and they could recommend things to me, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. I don't think there really wasn't much other. I guess Toonami did show some of the other Gundam series, but they never really took off. Definitely Wing and G were the 2 big ones. Probably because Wing was just Wing and G were just so flashy. They were a little more approachable in a weird way compared to, say, original Gundam or Zeta, for example, which are just very much products of their time. I love both of those shows, but I can see why the average American 10-year-old would not really get too much into Mobile Suit Gundam. Toonami's still going. Yeah, Toonami's still got a huge thing. So, Toonami schedule. Let's see here. Toonami's current schedule, waiting for their website to load, which is really cool but kind of funky. It's all kind of flashy stuff. Schedule. My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Super, Attack on Titan, Promised Neverland, Sword Art Online, Alicization, JoJo, Black Clover, Boruto, Naruto Shippuden, and Hunter x Hunter. That is the current Toonami Adult Swim schedule, going from 10:30 p.m. to 3 in the morning. Because I'm sure there's tons of kids tuning in at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch Hunter x Hunter. I don't know. I'm sure everyone time shifts, right? Interesting. Yeah, Adult Swim was also a big deal because I remember Adult Swim launched with Cowboy Bebop, and a lot of anime fans basically forced their friends to watch that, and they were like, okay, they clearly know what they're doing. They are pushing, the right stuff, and so it got a lot of attention from the anime community, which really helped a lot. And apologies if I'm looking down a lot. I got a sunburn last weekend, and I don't know if you can see that very well. It doesn't come across very well. And as a result, my arm's peeling a little bit. It's just easy to work at that. Toonami's an action block. There's no question. There's not really going to get much beyond that. And then really they're more of a shonen block now. Rental stores for anime, absolutely. Um, I'd go to rental stores, and I don't think I rented much anime. I was more into buying. Although when Netflix first launched, I made use of that a lot for anime. I remember watching some of I watched Escaflowne that way. I watched I think Overman King Gainer that way. Oh, there was something else I know. The 1990 Tomino anime series. No, sorry, 1999 Tomino anime series. Brain Powered. I watched some of that on Netflix back when it was just a DVD service. It was really nice because they had a fairly wide variety of anime available, and stuff that you really couldn't get very easily. That wasn't always stocked at the stores, but it'd be on Netflix. That was really cool. Thoughts on High Dive? I really like High Dive. What I've used of it has been very effective. The website is easy to use, which is important for a streaming service. And they have a good variety of shows, and some of them you can't get at other services. So it's like, that's what I'm looking for. That's pretty cool. Escaflowne does still hold up. It is very 90s art style, and even there, it's kind of a very distinctive style of character design. So I know some folks who just have a difficult time with the character designs themselves, but I think if you can get past that, big plot, fun characters, tons of stuff going on. Hey, Gorilla, good to see you. And of course, Yoko Kanno's soundtrack is still just legendary. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I still listen to that soundtrack occasionally. Just fire it up, listen to the music. One of her best. Of course, they're all one of her best, let's be honest. She could do no wrong. Hey, Matt. But, and I haven't seen Escaflowne in a while. I want to see the movie at some point, because apparently the movie takes a very different tack than the anime series, which is pretty cool. Or pretty interesting. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I don't think I own it either. I don't think I've come across a copy. I wonder if it's streaming somewhere. Escaflowne the movie is one of those things where I know it came out on DVD. It was licensed, brought out not long after the anime series came out, and it made a splash when it came out. Then it just kind of disappeared. And I remember it was hard to find something. It's hard to find. Just kind of folks didn't keep it in stock much that I remember. Who would be my anime waifu? That's a tough one. I've not seen Stelvia. Oddly, I have the soundtrack to Stelvia because I really like the music that I heard from there. A friend of mine watched Stelvia and really liked it, but it's on my to-watch list at some point. You can marry any anime girl. It's tough. There are a lot of anime girls that I think are cute, that I like the personalities of, but I don't think would make particularly great life mates. I'd want to marry somebody that is interesting, not somebody who is, a pillow, basically. So I don't know. Let's be honest. The one who'd be best in bed is Ryoko. The one from Tenchi Muyo. The one that would be the most adventurous to hang out with would be Washu from Tenchi Muyo. Right? So I don't know. It's tough. I enjoy a lot of characters that I wouldn't want to marry. I love the girls from Azumanga Daioh, but I don't think any of them are really dependable people in a lot of ways. It's always Tenchi, exactly. I don't know. In Haruhi Suzumiya, Yuki is my jam. But again, I don't think I'd want to live with Yuki all the time. Even the Yuki from the disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan, the spin-off storyline, which I love a lot. She's just this very passive, quiet, kind of scared person. I don't know that I'd really want that as a girlfriend or wife. Um, yeah, or like the Nichijou girls or whatever. Like they're fun to play around with, but um, I don't know. Trying to think of more recent anime series I've seen and kind of who I'd want to marry, and there's not a lot. Um, been watching Dororo lately. No. Land of Lustrous. No. Gundam Girls. Gundam does tend to have stronger female characters. Um, I can see the redheaded woman from 0083, Mackenzie, I think is her name. I can see her being a fun. She's kind of laid back. But she has a career. She wants to do things in her life, right? I could go for that. Um, Not really any of the girls from Wing. They all have their weird issues. Same thing with Original Gundam. You know, none of those girls really appeal to me that I can think of. Um, Thinking of Iria, but Iria's a little too hard nosed for me. Worst answer ever. Question animation of your like, yeah. Hey, there we go, Mike. Mm, I hear that. Aw. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and you want someone dependable and interesting. I'm thinking actually the girls from Laid Back Camp because I like camping and I love someone I could camp with, but none of them are very good at camping, other than the one really quiet girl, and she's a little, again, she's fun to watch, but she's not really someone that I think would be a lot of fun to hang out with. So I don't know. Hmm. I gotta find a show that has like really spunky, fun characters. Some of the girls from Idolmaster, I think, would be good. Dating myself here. They're energetic, but they have dreams and plans, that kind of stuff. Reasons to get better. That's true. But I don't know. You have the puppy. Yeah, the main girl who again is just so shy. I don't know. Oh yeah, and you have the classic, Ray versus Asuka debate. Um, I could see marrying Mari Illustrious, to be honest. Like I like her a lot. Just her personality, her zest for life. Misato just needs so much therapy, right? And Ritsuko as well. But yeah, I could see, Mari would be a lot of fun. She'd also probably be fun in bed. Um, oh yeah, the girls go to Antarctica anime. That's a good group. Again, they have goals. That's pretty cool. Time of Eve. I love Time of Eve. Then again, I'm a huge classic sci-fi fan. I read a lot of classic sci-fi, and Time of Eve is very much in that mode, and that is Time of Eve is awesome. Come to think of it, come to that, it all comes full circle. The girl who runs the bar, I like her. She's cool. She has an interesting personality. She has a clear sense of right and wrong. Um, that was pretty cool. She has. She's more than just a pretty face, and that's the thing for me. I want something that's more just a pretty face and an archetype. Yeah, I would love a full length Time of Eve series. I think there's plenty of space there. But he moved on to what Pokemon Inverted and other stuff like that. I think that creator too is more of an experimenter, and he wants to do something different each time, which is fair enough. How about Ghibli characters? Nausicaa. Yeah, I could do Nausicaa. Wait, no. I could marry Nausicaa. That'd be a pretty good wife, if you ask me. Probably so many Ghibli characters are kids, and that just feels creepy. Whereas like, yeah, I know what we're saying that we're once they grow up, but that's kind of tough. Theo from Porco. Again, she's She's not quite old enough yet, but that personality, that energy, I like a lot. Anime I'm currently watching. Not like currently watching. Like I said last week, I got a bit of original Gigantor and DNA Squared. I also still have Dororo and Land of the Lustrous on my queue that I want to finish up sometime soon. But I got a lot of other stuff going on, which is actually, I'm clearing a bunch of stuff off the plate so I can get back into anime watching. I've started, in fact, this weekend I'm going to accelerate. I've been kind of getting rid of out of date materials that are around here and consolidating a lot of my projects and kind of moving forward a lot of the stuff I wanted to do so that I will have more time and energy to move to things. Yeah, exactly. It's like, Sheeta, wait. And also Sheeta is just kind of the, kind of generic princess girl. But yeah. What do you qualify as easy watching anime? Well, you know my answer, Quiet Country Cafe. Aria. I think a lot of it's pacing. If the show is just relaxed, if the show is, if it doesn't have a lot of drama, for lack of a better term, I think that makes it easy watching. And they're generally more rural shows, but that's not a prerequisite. If that's what you're talking about in terms of easy watching, in terms of being something we can just, sit back and watch and not really have to think too much. But I see where you're coming from there, Akko, about the idea of the Narutos and so forth as being shows where things are kind of laid out for you. It's not really that difficult to understand, motivations and such. That's interesting, Game Escape. I may have to do that. I've tried getting to the Patlabor anime a few times, and I've never been in the right frame of mind for it. I know the first time I tried the movies, I thought Patlabor was more light and upbeat, and the movies are not that. And so I got into that, and so I watched those, and I was like, okay, I see where they're going with that. And I tried to get into the OVA, and the OVA is much more light and goofy. So I think I need to kind of reorient myself and get into those shows, because Patlabor is definitely and it's the kind of thing I actually like a lot, where it's sci-fi, but it's also kind of mundane sci-fi. It's sci-fi in a real world, practical sci-fi, if you will, where these are things that people are dealing with in their real lives. It's not, the end of the world as we know it. It's not apocalyptic. It's more mundane. And I like when we see the juxtaposition of sci-fi elements and more real life. Like an anime plus cosmic horror, yay or nay? I'd be up for that. Nice art, slow pace, and yet mundane. Yeah. And that's the thing I've realized is that the OVA, the TV series, and the movies are all distinctly different takes on the material. It's kind of tonally different, which is not what you normally see in franchises. Movies may be a little darker, that kind of stuff. But Patlabor is a little more extreme in those differences. So you got to be used to that. I do want to go back and watch The Silent Mobius now that I read some of the manga, because I'm like, ooh, this is nice. Just so much anime to watch, right? So much anime to watch. So my hope is that I can get through, all these books to read, to give you an idea. So that over there, that there is my to-read pile. All of those books, which is a lot of books. So I want to get through all those. And it's a lot of supplies, a lot of stuff to kind of get rid of. And then I'd love to do an anime show every weekend. And just sit down with some Pocky and, a soda and just watch anime all weekend. Not all weekend, but a good chunk of the weekend. Actually have some space for these things. Kind of funny how busy we can get. There's a lot of stuff that's just kind of crazy. Am I stressed about my backlog of reading anime projects? Not anymore. I was for a long time, because YouTube is just this giant, constant, gaping maw that requires, feeding. But I'm at a pretty good place with that now. And in terms of stuff around actually minimalism, or the pursuit of minimalism, getting rid of stuff that I don't actually use, that I might use someday but I'm not actually doing, that's helped a lot because I really feel like, okay, I'm making progress. I'm getting closer and closer on things. That helps a lot. That's cool, Jay. That's a nice challenge. I just got such a big backlog. And one of these days I need to just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend today finishing up this show, and that kind of stuff. That's a great point, Matt. Easy anime are those that don't have much dialogue to digest. That's really cool. It's a really cool idea. Or that's a really cool definition, where it's stuff where there's not people explaining things a lot, and that's good. Aria's like that. Koi Country Cafe is like that. Totoro's like that, really. Much more visual shows in that sense. Yeah, that's tough, Jay, though, because there are certain genres that I just don't care for much. So it would be difficult for me to find an anime that I haven't seen in that genre that I would care to watch. And I guess you could force yourself through it and you'll find a classic. You can probably find some anime in any given genre that would have some appeal to a person. Cool. Yeah. That's one of the things I recommend folks a lot is, branch out. Just watch random anime. Pick a random letter on Crunchyroll and scroll down and click something that looks interesting. Just try different stuff. You'll find some really neat stuff. Can't repick. Yep, that would be important. Good idea. But yeah, this is going to be the year of one, where I cut down on the amount of stuff in. Oh, you can repick. I'm sorry, I misread that. So yeah, I'm going to cut down on the amount of possessions and projects and ongoing stuff to a rate reasonable for a single person, which is, it seems obvious, but I've just got so much stuff. So many things that, I haven't picked that up in years. And I want to learn it one of these days, but it's like, it's silly. So I got to make that decision of, do I keep something that I may want to do in the future, or just acknowledge the fact that that's probably not something I'm going to do anytime soon. And I got the piano and other stuff. Yeah. Actually, funny, on that, Jay, I follow some video game YouTubers, the Easy Allies, and they were talking about, they got a letter from somebody who goes to the used video game store and picks out just random things. He has no idea what they are and goes and buys them and goes and plays them. The $3 or $5 Game Boy games, that kind of stuff. And he's been doing this for a year and has not found a hidden gem yet. And they were talking about this, and they said one of the problems is that don't expect to find hidden gems, right? Don't expect to find an Evangelion in there, in anime terms. Don't expect to find, a Breath of the Wild in there. But you may find something that is unexpectedly good. And you can also do a certain amount of intelligent choosing, right? You can look at certain aspects of it to say, okay, I don't think that's a bad sign there, right? But you can absolutely, skim through to find things that you wouldn't expect to be really fun and cool, and come home with something that is surprisingly fun. One of the guys there does a Bad Game Monday, where he takes a game that has low review scores and plays it anyway, and finds interesting things about it. Finds fun things to do in the game, that kind of thing. I think that's a nice spirit of it, is to say this may not be everybody's cup of tea, but there's probably something in here that's worth checking out. How you found Time of Eve? Cool, yeah. Time of Eve is really amazing. I mean, the animation it can be a little low budget at times, but my gosh, they really make use of it. And I just love some of the moments in that that are very simple, but really get across a lot about their themes and the plot and all that stuff. I found a lot of your music obsessions. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really follow music much, but when I have, it's been by, well, I look for classics in that genre. But also it's going in and saying, oh, this is an interesting album. Let's try it. Let's just listen. I'm listening to some electro swing lately, which, oh man, that's my jam. Swing music done as electronica. Most favorite video games: Breath of the Wild, right up there. Oxenfree, oddly. The old X-Wing, space combat simulator, and TIE Fighter. The Secret of Monkey Island. A lot of the old adventure games: Indiana: The Fate of Atlantis, the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That was a great adventure game. I replayed some of Legend of Carandia recently, which was a surprisingly fun adventure game. I was big into adventure games, so that was really big. Probably one of the video games I come back to over and over, Doom, definitely. We play that frequently. Frenzy is a classic video game from like the 70s, which I can pick up and play anytime. There's just always something interesting about it to me. Yeah, yeah. Part of it too, I think, Jay, is you have to take that kind of a challenge in the spirit it's intended, to realize, okay, I'm going to watch a lot of stuff that I don't like, and recognize that there's going to be a lot of, um, a lot of crud to swim through before I find something really interesting. Fair. I loved what I played of Skyrim. I played, probably 20 hours of Skyrim before I kind of got bored. But I was absorbed in those. I played a bit of Final Fantasy VII, but it was just too long. Honestly, I put it down after a while. Maybe with the remake, I'll get back into it. I don't know. Your Dreams, Thousand Arms. That's kind of nice. Hey Gage, my favorite Gundam series. I don't. It's really hard for me to choose because I like them all in so many different ways. Twist my arm, and it's probably Turn A Gundam, because that show is tuned to my sensibilities. So many of the themes and elements of Turn A Gundam are just things I really respond to very well, but it's a weird one. But I do love original Mobile Suit Gundam. Like, when I think Gundam, when I think, living in the Gundam universe, I usually kind of default to that show. Yeah, it's a great point, Game Escape. Final Fantasy VII is long, and it's kind of like, I don't know that I could commit to that time. Format I prefer for video games. Oh gosh, right now it's PlayStation or Switch, just because it's easier. I was a PC gamer back as a teenager, young adult, just because we couldn't really afford consoles when I was growing up. So a big PC gamer, but that was that thing where for now, I really like not having to tweak my PC so that I can run various games, or not have to worry about performance issues on my PC for any given game. I like just having the PlayStation, plug it in, and I'm not so deep into video games that it matters, right? Where I'm like, video games aren't a passion to me in that way. That I'm always playing the latest video game, so for me, PS is the way to do it. And I looked at the Xbox library, and just those sorts of games just don't really seem to appeal to me. I don't know why, but the PlayStation's kind of the big heavy hitters in PlayStation have been things that I seem to like a lot, and the Switch. Although oddly, like I'm not really big into. I don't like platforming. So you think the Switch would be like, nope. But Breath of the Wild, right? Breath of the Wild is just that is my favorite video game of all time at this point. It just works. I don't think it's a very representative Zelda game. Not that I played a lot of those. But here we go. I don't keep track of how underrated or overrated anime is. I just don't keep my finger on that pulse, so I honestly don't know if it's overrated or underrated. I love Double O when it came out. I still love Double O. I think it is a, and I love Double O because it is definitely telling its own story, but it's also in many ways a love letter to so many Gundam tropes. You know, so many elements of Gundam are there or are explored in new ways in Double O. You know, it is clearly written by somebody who just grew up absorbing Gundam and now gets his chance to do his Gundam series. But it's, you know, it is its own thing. It is very much a particular take on that universe, and so I can see some folks just not liking it. Yeah, that's another thing about those challenges. You got to beware of folks saying, "Okay, you have to watch, you know, Zeta Gundam." It's like, well, there's, you know, 25 hours. There's a lot of long, you know, Detective Conan. Well, there goes the rest of my life. I'm just, boy, I'm done. There's a challenge. So yeah, that's another series where I've enjoyed Detective Conan every time I've seen it, but there's just no way I can get into that franchise, that show. There's just too much of it. It's like CSI or NCIS. I know it exists. I'm glad it exists. I can watch it if it's on, but I'm not going to seek that out, right? And just, you know, absorb mass quantities. Although I did actually watch a good chunk of NCIS. Like I actually did spend some time on like the CBS app, like just watching episodes of NCIS. I really like that show oddly, but yeah. That's another problem actually I have with video games in general is that I'm, you know, of an age, kind of like what we're talking about there, Game Escape, is I'm, you know, a 40 plus hour game, you know, saying that is actually a turnoff for me. You know, I understand why it's there, but I really don't want to commit that much of my time to a video game. I'd much rather have something where there's replayability perhaps, but where that core story, that core experience, I can get through in, you know, under 20 hours. Right? It's like, I'd watch all of Conan. Wow. There's a lot of Conan out there. Conan, there was the Conan cartoon from the 90s. Conan, forget the name of it, but I memorized the opening monologue of that show because it was such a beautifully precise example of summarizing your plot. Let me see if I can remember it. Conan, the mightiest warrior ever. His quest to undo the spell of living stone cast upon his family by driving the evil serpent men back into another dimension and vanquishing their leader, the cruel wizard Rashomon. Like, well done, show. Like that is your premise, clearly stated. I know exactly what's going on. I can now go into your show. Like, well done. Let's see here. Yeah, exactly, Yako. It's like how can I find time for all these things? I have not played any of the Soulsborne games, and yeah, they have no appeal to me. Also, I don't like hard games in the sense that I'm not good enough at video games to be able to do well in games that are intentionally challenging. So they're just, you know, frustration engines for me, right? I cannot make any progress in those games, and getting good would take so long with my, you know, atrophied Twitch reflexes that it's just not my, you know, it's just not a skill that I'm interested in getting good at. And yeah, that's the problem, is that there are all these games out there. You really have to settle down. I did buy and I played some of Days Gone when it came out. I've only gotten a few hours into it, but really loved that. And that's a hard game, but it's a hard game in the sense of like survival choices, which I really like. And so everything I've played so far of Days Gone, I've been like really, really appreciating that game. is pretty cool. But everything I've heard says that adjusting the difficulty of a Soulsborne game is against the spirit of the game. So I'm just kind of not into that. Yeah, Dragon Quest is a great example. I'm like, those are long plots. Like, I don't want to get into that. Just stop enjoying video games. Yeah, that happened to me. I mean, when I hit college, I didn't have time, frankly, for video games. So I played a bit here and there, but I kind of fell out of the habit of playing video games. And it took me years and years and years to get back into video games. It took me probably, well, I got out of it for a little while. Played PS2 for a little while, but that was just a few months. Did the Wii for a little while, for like a few months, and then it wasn't until this PS4, and the Switch and the PS4. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't done the Spider-Man PS4 game just because I'm not a superhero guy. But that looks like a fun game. That looks like a really amazing, beautiful game. So that definitely looks like a cool thing. And again, there's also the expense, right? $60 on every single one of these. Like, I gotta, I'd like to retire someday. So that is a game I would love to get a chance to play someday, perhaps. Well, that's why I don't like superhero games. Like, I'm already a superhero. So why would I play a game when I can just do that now? If only. Clearly a cover up, no question. Yeah, but and that's the other thing. I mean, there are so many good video games these days. The options are just so wide. I'd love to play the new God of War, but I haven't even finished Yakuza Kiwami yet, which I'd love to do. Like, I got pretty deep into Yakuza. That zeroth Yakuza game, or is it the first? I forget. Yeah, Disgaea. I played the demo of Disgaea 5 and just adored the humor of that, the goofiness, all that. Would love to play more Disgaea. Yeah, everything I've seen about God of War is like, yes, this is one of the greatest games, of last year, but only so much. Only so many things. Such a grind, yeah. There are upcoming games I'm excited about. Ghost of Tsushima. I want to play that game. That speaks to my soul. That game. But am I gonna find time? I don't know. That's why I need to take care of everything, and a lot of that is like spring cleaning. I realize if I'm gonna clean everything, why not just take everything out, dump it out, and actually like figure out what I'm gonna do, make some progress on stuff. And part of that too is Workshop Wednesday. So if I can get a kind of a grip on all these things, and I can kind of plan out a bunch of crafting projects and say, okay, I have the materials for this, materials for this, materials for this. Revisiting the Japanese Saturn, cool. Games are pricey, yeah. Do you have to play them all in Japanese, or are there translations? It's one of the reasons I wanted to get into some of the visual novels, but so few of them had translations until recently. Gage, you can always bring up Gundam. Believe me, bring up Gundam anytime you want. Did I like Iron Blooded Orphans? I watched the first few episodes of Iron Blooded Orphans and liked what I saw. On the other hand, it was very much kind of grimdark in a way. And so I was waiting to see where that was going. And I had a friend I was going to watch it with. And then our schedules didn't sync up, so it kind of fell off our radar for a while. So one of these days I want to get back and watch Iron Blooded Orphans, because I did like what I saw. But just kind of, one of those things that happens. But thought of making chainmail. I have thought of making chainmail. I may do that sometime soon. Play the games don't require too much Japanese. Good idea. But one of the things I want to do soon is build a drill press and lathe out of like hand tools. So you can basically take a drill and make a contraption that turns it into a drill press or a lathe, which would be a lot of fun. And then I can use that for other projects. Lots of other crafting ideas. Lots of fun stuff. Yeah, short Gundam is nice. Same thing with Reconquista. Actually, I want to watch Reconquista one of these days, and that's shorter. Like a Gunpla. Yeah, I've done a few of those. That's another thing I want to do at some point. Is once I get this stuff worked out, I want to start doing more Gunpla and actually do some kit bashing. Like, take multiple Gundam kits and put them together into a custom kit. Maybe do a diorama or something like that. CD-Romance.net. Cool. Playable on PC. Excellent. I am clicking that link right now. Oops, 1 second. That's not the best place for that. And let me close down the Toonami site because that's very, very distracting. Cool. Thanks, Game Escape. Reconquista? Yeah, I don't know. The thing is that I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I never heard a positive thing about brain powered. But the people I know who we came across some folks who've actually seen it were like, actually it's not that bad. Like it's fine. So I think a lot of shows get a bad reputation, but a lot of that bad reputation is just people kind of repeating other people's opinions. So made a full suit of armor, Jay. That's really awesome. That's very tempting. They're playing a Cowboy Bebop live action. That is true. Netflix show. I'm curious. Yeah, I haven't seen a single frame of it, so I'm not gonna jump to conclusions about whether it's gonna be good or not. But I'm always up for somebody making an interesting adaptation of things. Right? Pretty much all anime is adaptation of manga, so I can't complain about adaptations. Yeah, exactly, Mike. When aren't they planning a live action Cowboy Bebop? That is one of those franchises that's just a very, it's an obvious choice. Not only is it popular in the West, the style of the show is more Western. It's an obvious kind of idea. Sci-fi does well. It has action. It has depth. Like, it's the obvious choice, but bring it together. People aren't going to like it, right? I mean, it's people are going to find reasons to complain about that adaptation. But let's see it when it comes out. Let's see what actually happens. It's actually the problem the Ghost in the Shell movie had. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, you cast a white actress, how dare you?" And then that's actually a plot point in the movie. But people refused to see the movie because of that, and thus didn't have the full information about the movie. So it's kind of like, you need to give the movie a chance. You watch all 90s anime. I'm impressed. Alita's good? Cool. Good to hear it. Yeah, I've heard that Alita is, an enjoyable ride. It's a, big, exciting Hollywood action romp kind of a thing, which is really what you want out of Alita. Alita is fundamentally what I've read of the manga. I've read a few volumes. It's, it can be touching. It can be emotional. It can have, those heart-wrenching moments. But it's fundamentally a action extravaganza stuff. Yeah. Totally. All right, I can feel my voice starting to go, so I'm going to end it here. As always, thank you guys so much for the conversation. I think, starting in a couple of weeks, and I'm not sure if we can do the live stream next week, because I'm going to be on vacation, so I'm going to try to stream from my hotel. But if not, we should be back the following week. And starting up in our next time, I'm going to start doing some giveaways. I have tons of stuff to give away. Anime, maybe some manga, we'll see. And so, yeah, if you guys tune in, I will give away anime to something on the somebody in the chat room. So we will see how that goes. Again, as always, thank you all so much for showing up and for chatting. Until next time, watch more anime.